internet.
We are live. Welcome to Ask Me About My Draculas. If you are unfamiliar with the show, the whole point of it is to have one person on the episode not know the TV show or book we are discussing, and everyone else has to explain it to them. I am Kel McDonald, and I draw comics that you can find at kelmcdonald.com, and I'm also going to point out that I have a Kickstarter going on right now for my main comic, Sorcery 101, that you should all back. And then I have my co-host,
Ma'at Crook. That's me. You can find me on Twitter at Ma'at Crook. And right now, starting today, I started working on a comic about oppression. Woo! Yay! And that will probably be available through my website, peapod.org. That's P-E-A, not P-E-E.
All right, and then we have two guests. The first one is...
My name is Alina Pete, and I do the comic Weregeek, and that's were like werewolf. I enjoy quite a lot of bad shows, so this should be interesting today. And you can find me on Twitter at Alina Pete.
And then we have another guest to help explain Hemlock Grove.
Hi, I'm Amanda Lefranias. I have a webcomic called Love Me Nice. I also do erotic comics for the site Slipshine. And I have unfortunately seen Hemlock Grove within my lifetime.
Yes, so today we are talking about Hemlock Grove, and which is not a good show, as you can tell from the title of this episode, which is We Watched Hemlock Grove, so you don't have to. And as usual, I'm going to ask our two episode participants who haven't seen Hemlock Grove to what they think it's about. So, Alina, how about you go first?
Well, I have on browsing Netflix seen the picture for Hemlock Grove, which I believe is the mouth of a wolf with a lady's arm sticking out of it. So I assume it has something to do with werewolves and maybe murders.
Okay. Ma, what do you think it's about?
Wow, I didn't remember that. It's been a long time since I haven't thought about Hemlock Grove. In fact, I thought it was called Hemlock Glove.
What did you think Hemlock Glove was about?
I drew what I remembered the picture was, and there's no wolf involved in that. I don't.
Awesome.
So I'm totally wrong. I'm sure. And I remembered this being kind of an armor thing, so just judging from what I could glean from this photo or picture that I drew, I think it has to do with something medieval-y. And since we are talking about Draculas, maybe some vampires involved somewhere in there. But that's all I've got. I have nothing. Maybe
Draculas, maybe werewolves.
Yeah.
Amanda and I watched Hemlock Grove together while we were both doing work, and it was on in the background.
We didn't. I got less and less work done.
We just kept being so perplexed, offended, and angry that we would look up and not draw. We would just be like, "What is going on?" I believe that there was one episode where, Amanda, you just turned to me and was like, "What is even happening?"
Yeah.
Sounds like some quality TV.
There was a point where I took a nap, like, mid-episode, and I woke up, like, later, and I was like, oh God, what I missed? What happened? And Kel was like, nothing, you didn't miss anything. I'm like, no. Just tell me what happened. Oh, they bought a hose. And I was like, oh, that's funny. What'd they do? No, that's all they did. During your nap, they just went and they got a hose. That's it. I was like, oh my God.
So this whole thing is really weirdly paced because we have moments where there's so much going on that is unclear and we are screaming at the TV going, what the fuck is happening? What is going on? But then there are stretches of time, like Amanda, I think, was napping for 20 minutes, where all that happened is they went to the store and bought, it was an extension cord, not a hose. But yeah, that was very riveting 20 minutes.
Was there sexual tension during this cord?
No, they just went and bought a hose.
Nope.
So the plot of Hemlock Grove is.
Oh, and by the way, until just now, I completely forgot there was a Dracula in it because of how unimportant that aspect of this character was.
Wow.
Well, he was a Dracula, but he didn't know he was a Dracula.
But exactly, it was so unimportant, this detail, that I completely forgot it had a Dracula in it, even though we're doing Tell Me About My Draculas. My God.
This is my picture of you and Kel watching this episode.
Awesome.
What y'all are doing.
The brows would be a smidge more furrowed, but yes.
Okay, wait.
Exact.
It's like, oh God, what? What even?
So the plot of Hemlock Grove.
There we go.
Yeah. So the plot of Hemlock Grove, because there is a plot, and that plot is everyone hates gypsies. And I know that gypsy is an offensive term, but I'm going to use it because that is the only way to properly display how much contempt this show has for travelers and Romani.
Do they call them gypsies in the show the whole time?
Yes.
Awesome. Good. Good cultural awareness.
So that's why I'm going. So
well, isn't the main character
anyone
supposed to...
who is super offended by that term should maybe just not watch this episode because we're going to say a lot because we're going to quote the terrible dialogue of the show, which says gypsy a lot.
Oh,
also,
and reminder,
underscore the racism.
Well, and reminder, the main character is Romani.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have this weird small town, and then the gypsies come to town.
Oh no!
And everyone is like, "Oh, those filthy gypsies! They're up to no good." And this is a modern day town.
Exactly. That's the most trippy part of it. This is a modern day American town, and they're just like. Like, you'd expect, an old-timey village to do, and it's just really, what, excuse me?
Do they have a caravan? Did the gypsies
No,
float across
they just
the ocean in a caravan?
there was only, 2 of them.
There's only 2 of them,
It's
and
a mom and
a
her
trailer.
son. It's not even... They just move into the neighborhood. That's how weirdly
it's a mom,
cartoonishly
it's a
racist
single
this town
mom
is.
and her son move into the neighborhood in a trailer, and everyone's like, gypsies, ruining the town.
Oh no!
And then girls start to get murdered, and they're ripped apart, and the way they are ripped apart
I feel like we're going a little too fast. I think we're going a little too fast. So I think we should do a little more, okay, what happens is, so the mom and the son, they move into town, and then everyone's, oh, racist, gypsy. And then murders start cropping up, which are being blamed on the gypsies for really no other reason than that.
No. Because there is a very illogical reason why they jump to the gypsies.
Oh, no, I'm just saying. I'm just gearing us up. We're ready. We're ready.
So,
I know
so
this is the case,
girls
but in
are
my head.
murdered and are ripped apart, and they are asked. Everyone's like, well, clearly a werewolf is responsible, and clearly the werewolf is the single gypsy lady's son because he's a gypsy,
And none of this is I could hear describing this and assuming it's played for laughs, of course, but it's completely serious. It's meant to be dramatic.
It's very much like people are like, well, clearly it's a werewolf, and clearly the werewolf is that gypsy kid, and everyone's like, yes, sure, and they nod, this is, of course, the 2 + 2 = 4. Obviously, these murders are performed by a werewolf. That's that gypsy kid.
And when we
And-
say small town, we don't mean small rural town. We just mean small town where people are still all wearing like Abercrombie and shit. Like, it is
Like, this is
bizarre.
perfectly modern.
Yeah, it is bizarre how like racist and like like it's like another region's racism. They're and how like superstitious they are. It is bizarre.
But then it's really unclear that whether or not the town actually believes in werewolves, because while you have all the everyday townsfolk going, well, clearly it's a werewolf, and clearly the werewolf is that gypsy kid, we then move on to the police officers being, werewolf, that's nonsense.
Right.
But it's still probably the
town is all
gypsy kid.
racist and terrible.
So
Yeah.
it's like they live in a town where immediately they're all superstitious enough to go, werewolf, absolutely werewolf. But the police officer, in spite of being part of that town, is like, nah, not werewolf.
All right. Before you said it was the gypsy kid, I drew the werewolf mom with like Esmeralda's skirt.
Frankly, I would have loved that. I would have had, honestly, I would have had to be annoyed by the, the gypsy costume,
Yeah.
but it would still have improved this experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, though. How much does the mom look like Esmeralda from Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame?
No,
she's
not at
just a
all.
lady who lives in a trailer.
Yeah, they only appear Romani at like the barest requirements.
Only on the full moon.
Like, well, no, like you could look at them and you could assume they're like 5 different ethnic groups, possibly. You could even assume they're white. So it's like
when I saw them, I just assumed people were upset that like trailer trash moved to town.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like, and and Romani can look, have various skin tones. So it's really bizarre that they looked at these people who just look unremarkable aside from being trailer trash and saying, gypsies.
These people are gypsies.
It's just bizarre. I don't understand.
So then, because of the murders and because of the racism, no one talks to this teenage boy that lives with his mom in a trailer, except for the richest kid in town who is a Dracula but does not know he's a Dracula.
Of course.
And I don't
Is he a sad
understand.
Dracula?
What?
Is he a sad Dracula?
Well,
Yeah.
no, he's
He's
kind of
somber.
a pretty rich kid.
Yeah.
Ah.
I think he takes his shit too seriously. I would definitely say that.
But, like, it's weird that he doesn't know he's a Dracula because he has mind control powers. So he just goes around mind controlling people to get, like, a new car and shit like that. Like, if you were a teenager that found out the Jedi mind trick worked for you, he uses his powers to get all those petty, really dumb things. But he never questions that this power is abnormal.
Wow.
It's like, why doesn't everyone just mind control themselves?
And you know what? The way we're telling it, that sounds interesting, right? Like, that'd be a fun story. It's not.
No.
Yeah.
It's boring and flavorless, and it has no rhythm. It's just, he's doing these things, and this is why.
He like, doesn't even assume that he's a mutant or anything.
Yeah, no, and then his mom looks freakishly young, and you find out later it's because she's also a Dracula.
Oh, okay.
Looks this young. This is my picture of them moving into town.
Evil gypsies.
And so
Basically.
then, like, this Dracula that doesn't know he's a Dracula is like, well, no one in town likes me, so I'm going to befriend this other guy that no one in town likes to be a rebel. Like, he basically is befriending the gypsy guy because he wants to make his parents mad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're
So we
basically
have, like-
he's dating to piss his parents off.
Yeah, so we have like Richie Rich vampire.
Yeah, and so that is where the lines start to get really homoerotic, but clearly unintentionally.
I don't know. There's a part of me that also thinks there's a potential where the people who wrote this show saw, I've seen the fandoms for like Supernatural and Vampire Diaries. You know what? We should totally put this in. But they were so bad at it.
Yeah, because it's really stiff and awkward homoeroticism.
Yeah, it's like
Are we talking like True Blood homoeroticism?
No, it's
No.
just
Stiff and
like
awkward?
it's just like when everyone in town is like, oh, that guy's a werewolf, and clearly he's a werewolf because his index finger is longer than his middle finger. Like, they give that specific reason. And so then, like, you have Richie Rich Vampire guy goes up to the werewolf guy, gets really close to him, and is like, so is it true? Can I watch?
What? Okay, I gotta pause for a second. I just finished Richie Rich Vampire.
okay.
Here is Richie Rich Vampire.
Aww.
With his little
Good.
tiny fangs. He's got like tiny fangs.
Aww.
That is cute.
And then you get, werewolf guy goes, yeah, sure, and invites Richie Rich Vampire to his trailer to watch him turn into a wolf on the full moon.
Yeah, it's like written like basically if an alien was like, so fans really like this shipping stuff. I'm gonna put a little in. And it's just like he stands really close to him. He makes vaguely sexual comments. There, end scene.
This is how ship happens, yes.
Clearly, according to this
I have read
robotic
it.
alien. So yeah, and
Read
then,
it on
and then
the
the
internet.
murders start, and the murders are where things really, you kind of know this is going to be a special show.
Yeah, okay, so there are all these murders going on, and you don't know a whole lot about them until one scene in the coroner's office, where the sheriff and the coroner are looking at the dead body of a girl who's been mauled by the werewolf, but she's only been mauled below the waist.
Oh my.
So the comment the coroner makes is, went straight for the snatch.
No.
And then the sheriff
sounds-
goes, just like all the others.
Oh god.
And this is
The
said,
werewolf is only interested in eating vaginas.
and this is said completely serious. There is not an ounce of humor in this. It's just they're just talking about it like, yep, that's what's happening.
And so that starts the really confusing sexism.
Oh yeah. If
Yeah.
you're a girl in this show, unless you're the werewolf, Romani werewolf's mother,
You're dead.
Sorry.
Every other female character with a name dies.
yep.
Right.
And so then you have, as female characters, the cousin of the Richie Rich Vampire, who has no vampireness going on, but she has a weird dream about her cousin and then wakes up pregnant. And this was one of the moments where I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I found out because of an episode summary that she had been hypnotized by Richie Rich Vampire's Dracula mom into entering some weird trance where she then hypnotized her son into raping his cousin so they could impregnate her with some weird vampire chosen one baby.
Oh.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
And
Here's the werewolf fan club t-shirt. Straight for the snatch.
Okay.
Straight
Yeah.
from the snatch.
Straight for the snatch.
but it's one of those things where it's just so weird that I had no idea that's what happened.
Yeah, it took a while. Like they had to basically at the end say it in in the most certain terms.
Like, yeah, they had to, like, spell it out at the end because they realized they were still being too vague and confusing.
So, did they just go to, like, fanfic.net for the entire
I would think
series?
so. I would think so. Every female
I feel
dies
like
like a
it would be better
tragic death, and
if they went to fanfic.net. So then you have cousin who thinks she has been knocked up by an angel via a dream, who's then starts to date the werewolf guy. And he's like, yeah, I'll take care of your baby. That's from
Your crazy angel baby.
yeah, and they never talk about it. Like, I understand you can, like, assume some conversations happen off screen, whatever, but, like, you expect to be at least overhear one conversation where they're like, you know, I think it's weird that you keep saying the angel thing, but I care about you, and I'm gonna and you know, it's weird, but I'm gonna do this. He just does it. It's sort of this unspoken, yeah, I like you, I'll do this. This is good.
Is this the guy who unwittingly impregnated her?
No,
this is the werewolf, because the guy who impregnated her is her cousin.
Yeah. Oh, so he's the vampire, the rich vampire.
Yeah, I'm talking about the wolf, the werewolf.
The werewolf is the one that wants to raise her baby from an angel.
So confusing.
And he doesn't really believe her. And that leads to a lot of questions, like, no one talks about, like, her mental health ever. No one,
No one goes, maybe this girl is crazy and traumatized.
Maybe she was raped?
Yeah,
exactly. And nobody, like, they don't believe her, but they never have a conversation with her about it. They never think, listen, we really got to They're just like, we're just going to ignore this, you know. Let's go about our everyday lives. It's okay.
What do you expect, though, from a town full of people who are still afraid of gypsies?
Yeah, so then you have the weird homoeroticism between the vampire and the werewolf while the werewolf is dating vampire's cousin. And meanwhile, they're all like, hey, werewolf guy, did you kill these girls? And he said, nah, it wasn't me. So then they start to investigate all the murders.
Yes.
Well, the werewolf said he didn't do it, so...
Well, actually,
there must be another werewolf.
Yeah. And they weren't investigating that whole time, by the way. They're basically, the townspeople and the police are basically trying to decide, do we really believe it's a werewolf or not?
No, I feel like everyone believes it's a werewolf except for the police. But the police still think the werewolf did it because of racism.
Right.
And, so no one else in the town is investigating these murders. The police are mostly just harassing the werewolf guy.
And keep in mind, they have no reason to believe he's a werewolf except for racism.
Except for racism and his index finger is long.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
Like, they haven't even seen a werewolf yet. They have no confirmation there's a werewolf except murders, and they jump to the conclusion werewolf, and it's him.
Well, no, but snatch murders. They're going straight for the snatch.
Could have been a cougar. You don't know. You don't know. Could have been a dog.
Could have been a serial killer.
Yep.
Yeah. So then, thus enters like this detective lady who I guess might also be a werewolf hunter. It's not clear at all.
Oh my god, I forgot about her.
She's super not important.
Wow.
She's
true.
just there to add more racism to the show.
Oh, good.
Because that's what this show needed. So whenever it's not talking about Romani and the werewolf guy and harassing him and his mom, the racism is like really confusing dialogue. That it's like, I don't know what they're trying to say, but I know it's racist.
And the racism is weird because it's like, I'm not saying it's not offensive, but it's like, I feel detached from it because it feels like it's weirdly old-fashioned and from like I said, explained earlier, this is like modern town, people wearing Abercrombie and going to the mall and live next to a high-tech hospital. It's just, the style of and the racism and the tone of it is just so out of place. I'm constantly like, what did they just say?
Is there anyone in the
also,
town who isn't white aside from the Romani family?
So there's
I can't remember.
no, because the I thought that the werewolf hunter lady was black. There's an Asian guy who says, I'm Asian, so of course I know how to hack.
Oh my god, I forgot about him too. Oh, I forget. Sorry, the detective. I forgot she was a character because she doesn't do anything.
And we also forgot about the vampire guy's sister, who's a Frankenstein.
That's right.
Oh.
And that's where the Asian guy comes in, because he's the doctor to the Frankenstein.
Oh
Okay.
no.
And she's not like a Frankenstein in a fun way.
She just kind of shuffles around and is a little bit weird looking, and she can't talk, so she types all her lines into her iPhone, and they're delivered via Siri.
Not a joke.
Awesome.
It's actually Siri.
Wow.
Does Siri have the most emotional range out of anyone in the show?
No, because I mean, Werewolf's girlfriend later, she gets pretty upset.
Well, jeez.
She is the woman, after all.
And so then, like, back to, so there's also, like, really confusing racism in, like, so there's the old-fashioned racism, but then there's some that just doesn't make sense and is really confusing and just makes you go, what?
Oh, the Mexican one. Oh god.
Yeah, no, so there is a line after they get pulled over by the lady who claims to be a detective, but is actually a werewolf hunter. And
Right.
after they talk to her, the vampire guy's like, oh, you mean that detective? And the werewolf guy says, she is what she says she is, like a Mexican hates fireworks. That is a direct quote.
Oh my gosh.
And when they said that, we actually had to pause.
And be like, what the fuck does that even mean?
What?
Because I think I think Kel had read like an article about the show, so she got some of these weird quotes ahead of time. And even then, like she told me about the quote, and when the quote finally happened, we had to pause and stare and like, that's obviously racist. I
But
don't
we know what
understand
it's
it.
trying to say.
Yeah.
So they were trying to say that Mexicans love fireworks?
So if a Mexican says they hate fireworks, that means they're a liar.
Yeah.
Like this cop lady's a liar. Like, so there's just
Wow.
some weird jump.
Like, if you're going to make racist statements like that, at least make ones that make sense.
It's just so
Immediately
weird. I mean,
identifiable.
my theory is, and I think I shared this with Kel already, was that this person, whoever wrote that line, lived in a white neighborhood, and they only had one Mexican family friend, and they liked fireworks. That's the only thing I can come up with. And I used to live like a drive away from Mexico, so like if there were horrible stereotypes, unfortunately, I would have heard of them. And this is just so weird.
Yeah.
Fireworks. What?
So, yeah, so there's a lot of lines like that where it's like, oh, so you want to spread the racism around, I see.
Wow.
Oh, and there is a
Who is
point.
writing
There is a
this?
point where the characters acknowledge gypsy is a racist term, and we shouldn't use it, and it goes nowhere.
Yeah,
And they
they're
keep
like,
using
you know, maybe we should stop saying this racial slur over and over and over again. And it turns out, and then everyone's like, nah, and then they just keep going.
What?
I don't even remember which characters have the conversation, but I really think they're like,
Weird.
isn't calling them gypsies wrong? Isn't it more correctly Romani?
Yeah.
And that conversation goes nowhere. You never hear the word Romani again. It's like why did you write that in? Is that just so you could say like, no, we understand it's racist. Here is 2 lines to say we understand what we're doing,
But we're still going to use it.
and we don't give a shit.
I just googled Hemlock Grove, and apparently it's based off of a novel.
Apparently, it is. That's why. Oh, Hemlock. Did season 2 come out already?
Alright, season 2 did come out. I did not watch it because season 1 was enough.
Okay, so plot keeps going. They're investigating
They're
these
investigating,
murders.
and this is the part where it gets really boring, and they're just
Yes.
cutting things out. This is where it takes them 20 minutes to buy an extension cord.
Oh, it was
God.
an extension cord, that's right. So, honestly, the details don't matter, but time is progressing. They're trying to track down the werewolf. They're figuring out kind of maybe who it is, and they're trying to catch it.
So, yes. So then they get a magic axe from Richie Rich Dracula's mom.
Which takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to get it.
Yeah. And then they never use it.
How is
They
it
just
magic?
have it. And they have it in the final fight.
Well, when they get it, it's some kind of magic thing that can take care of a werewolf, so you think, aha, this is the axe they're going to kill the werewolf with. But then they keep doing more steps, like, we got to get more prepared. And there's a point where they're
And that's where they buy the extension cord, because
Yes.
they're planning to basically make a leash and
No,
tie the werewolf up.
no, you can't say that. Here's the thing, we can't say what all these things are for yet, because we didn't know.
Yeah.
We didn't know until they're... So, okay, I'm going to say it the way we experienced it. They go out and they get this magic axe. And this is a 13-episode show. Halfway point is when they start preparing, it feels like. They get the axe, magic axe, takes them out, they got it. Yeah, we're like, yeah, that's what they're going to kill the werewolf for. A lot of boring ass, I don't care, happens. I fall asleep and wake up and they've bought an extension cord. I'm like, oh, okay. It took them 20 minutes to buy an extension cord.
And then they go meet the werewolf guy's cousin, who is a prostitute but is also a psychic.
Right. Oh, I
And
forgot.
she doesn't tell them anything important. She says a lot of vague things that don't amount to anything.
Wow.
The last thing I remember them doing, which is the most memorable, is they cook bacon.
It's a very intense baking cooking scene.
Yes, I'm not even joking. This is a very tense. They have music playing. Everyone's face is grim.
They're like, we just gotta cook all the bacon.
Because it's a part of their plan, and so they know the plan, and so they're somber about it, like, we know what this bacon's for. But I don't, so I'm like, what are you doing? So they drain the bacon grease into, like, a Tupperware, and they take it, and, like, they're getting all... What else? Is that all they did to prep? Because there was a lot.
I think that's it. And so then, werewolf guy, like, confronts who he thinks the werewolf is, and it turns out it's this teenage girl that's been in, like, the show, but hasn't really done anything except be scared.
Right.
And you find out that...
Magic axe plus extension cord of doom.
It's beautiful.
That's my next tattoo.
I was just about to say.
And so they confront this girl, and they're all like, how'd you become a werewolf, and why'd you commit all these murders?
Reminder, this is the werewolf who's going straight for the snatch.
Yeah, this is the girl werewolf who's... And so, basically, her reason for the murders is that she needs to kill all the filthy sluts in her high school.
Oh, God.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, no.
And...
It's like the writers just were all, what's the most racist things we can think of, and what's the most sexist things we can think of, and just like...
But exactly, and it's so weird is because, like, it's so boring and, like, and it feels like it's like it was an Alien. Like, what? I've watched a lot of human TV. They seem to like Draculas and werewolves and sexism and racism. I'm going to make a show.
Let's make all of this happen.
So, like, it's done without any, like, I'm not saying, like, passion is a good thing in this. When it comes to racism, passion is not a good thing. However, that's why these all seem like you hear them and then you look at each other and go, what was that? I almost didn't catch it because it was so goddamn boring.
So then, like, so her mission is to kill all the sluts in her high school. And then the way she became a werewolf is she found out, like, she made the same racist conclusion the rest of the town did, which is this guy's a gypsy and therefore a werewolf. And then she read in a book somewhere that if you drink water out of a werewolf's footprint, then you become a werewolf too. So there's like a really dramatic flashback.
Yeah.
She's just sort of stalking him in the woods after it rained, and then pours water into like a footprint he makes in the mud, and then drinks that water. So
it was a very dramatic scene.
He had asked her to kill all the sluts in his high school, and so he said no. so she decided to take matter into her own hands.
Wow. Okay, so I tweeted, or I Googled the author, and here is a quote from his Ask Me Anything. So one of the main motifs of the book is the Ouroboros, a symbol of metamorphosis and the regeneration of the life cycle. I wanted the transformation to be gross and bloody and beautiful, sort of like childbirth. The werewolf eating his discarded flesh is a version of consuming his own placenta.
That's wonderful.
I'm just gonna
I
let
will
that
say,
percolate for a minute.
I actually thought the werewolf effect in the show was good.
Yeah, that's the one good thing in the show. You can very quickly find, if you Google Hemlock Grove werewolf transformation, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, like that's I think one of the reasons why we kept wondering why are we still going, and I would actually think back to the werewolf transformation scene like that was really cool. There's got to be something else cool in here because that one looked really good.
Yeah, this is while Dracula watches.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Please, Dracula,
So-
we are not in a gay relationship. Please watch me metaphorically be reborn and eat my placenta.
So we've
So
got racism, we've got sexism, we've got angel births, and placenta eating.
So
It's curious.
so we have werewolf guy confronts the other werewolf who's killing all the sluts, and
Oh, I
meanwhile
right.
Richie Rich Dracula and his cousin are just sort of outside the room and not doing anything. They're just watching this go down, and then werewolf guy puts bacon grease on his face, and I don't know why.
No. Here's how it happens.
What?
They use the extension cord to tie up the girl werewolf.
Yes.
They
The
then
one-
tie her to a wall. The girl
Okay.
werewolf who was the bad guy all along.
Okay.
They tie her to a pipe or something with the extension cord, and this is all dramatic. And so she's trying to break free to get at him.
Because werewolves are weak against extension cords.
And this is
We
when
all know.
they're doing that dramatic thing where the characters' voices, the volume is way low, and they're ramping up the music so you can't really hear what the characters are saying because they're starting to be like, no, because the girlfriend knows the plan. She's like, no, don't do this to the werewolf, and and Richie Rich Vampire is holding her back dramatically, like, no, he has to
Well,
do
she
this.
screams as he puts bacon grease on his face.
Yeah, so he's standing in front of the werewolf, slowly dipping his hand into this Tupperware container, rubbing bacon grease all over his face slowly, while slow motion she's in the background with her arm extended going, and I think they use the axe to cut the extension cord.
No, they don't even do that.
Oh,
the extension cord snaps because werewolf girl's too strong, and then she starts to eat werewolf guy's face.
Oh my god,
And
do you know why I thought
Dracula
that? Because-
guy doesn't do anything with his magic axe. He just stands there. And his cousin freaks out.
Do you know
And
why?
then
Okay, I gotta plug in my computer.
Frankenstein girl rushes in and breaks the werewolf girl's neck. And then he's shot by the police.
I feel like this is once again moving far too fast.
In this frustration, I'm so confused right now. None of that makes sense.
The
Bizarre.
reason that I assumed they broke the extension cord with the axe is because when it happened, I looked at Kel and I was like, why didn't they use the axe for that? They didn't use the axe for anything.
You know, he literally just stood there holding the axe going, gosh!
I have this
Well,
magical
the whole
werewolf
point of
killing
this
axe.
plan, the whole point of this plan is apparently to regenerate his skin. If the werewolf guy took damage, he would transform into a werewolf because that would help regenerate his skin. So that was the plan, to get the girl werewolf to bite his face off so that he'd transform into a werewolf. And to do this, they tied her to a wall with an extension cord, and he rubbed bacon grease on his face to entice her towards the face.
Because werewolves love bacon.
And then, Dracula guy, he holds his magic axe and doesn't do anything, and is like, I don't know how to use this magic axe that I'm holding on to very tightly. And then his sister, the Frankenstein, comes in, breaks the neck of the werewolf girl, basically saving her Dracula brother and cousin. And then the cops show up, and they see Frankenstein girl holding the broken neck of, like, the werewolf girl when she was a person. So they're like, oh, Frankenstein girl's a murderer. So then they shoot her.
And kill her?
Yeah. Because every female character with a name has to die.
All right, the detective lady, who I completely forgot existed,
Yeah.
has already been knocked off
Yeah.
at this point.
So we kill the werewolf girl. Frankenstein gets shot after saving the day. Then Dracula guy is sad because his sister's dead. Then his cousin goes into labor and she dies in childbirth.
Oh, so the baby hasn't even been born yet.
Yeah.
Angel
She
baby.
dies in childbirth, and then the scientists take the baby to do science.
We
to it.
forgot to mention, I remember how I said that their town is next to like a high-tech facility. They live next to this giant scientific facility. We don't know what it does. We don't know what... Is it government-based? Is it... What is it? We have no idea what it is. It's never described. It's vague and ominous, and at the very end, suddenly, when she has her baby... No, they take her to that facility to have her baby, and I don't understand why. And then she has it and dies there.
Weird.
And then werewolf guy gets
Drawing
upset.
of
and-
Richie Rich vampire not knowing how to axe.
Aw.
He's failed at axes.
And then werewolf guy is all upset and is like, oh, my girlfriend's dead. Everyone here is a racist piece of shit. Mom, maybe we should move. And they drive away together. And that's the only reason why his mom gets to survive. Because they leave town. And then Dracula guy is upset that his cousin is dead. And he blames his mom. And she then says, it's not my fault. It's your best friend Gypsy guy's fault. And then her last lines are a monologue about how gypsies are terrible.
Oh, jeez.
Like, the monologue starts with a gypsy is a gypsy, and they will always rob you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
And then he gets, like, so mad at her for supposedly killing his cousin and brainwashing him into raping her that he kills his mom, thus making him a full Dracula and realizing he's a Dracula.
Yeah, this is not a fact that was presented at any point to the audience that if he killed his mom, this would happen. It just happens.
Yeah.
Just real Dracula now.
They were really they wanted this show to have like an air of mystery, but the mystery was just too mysterious.
The mystery
That
is
was going on.
confusion.
Were they going for like were they really trying to do a Twin Peaks, like none of this makes any sense kind of thing?
I don't know. That's the thing. I watched it and I have no idea what exactly they were going for. Aside from, now I can't speak to the book because this is a show, but I'm pretty sure at least the people who made the show were like, vampires and werewolves and supernatural stuff, real popular. And like, oh, there's the tumblers. There's the tumblers and they ship the dudes, so we should have the dudes be in close proximity. But we should also keep it just racist enough and sexist enough, you know. We got a quota to meet.
Like, also, there's this weird parts where it's like, it's clear that they wrote the script before they knew who was going to play any of the characters and just never rewrote the script. Because there's like moments where like the cops come across the werewolf guy and he's shirtless because, you know, it's after the full moon or whatever. And they're all like, you sure are a hairy fella, but all the chest, he has no chest hair and just a little bit of a happy trail.
Oh my gosh. When I said that thing about Twin Peaks earlier, not making any sense, I did not mean that about Twin Peaks, though.
Twin Peaks makes infinitely more sense
Yeah.
than Hemlock Grove.
I really think the what happened with the show is they were trying to combine all the other popular shows, like this. They were trying to combine like the supernatural, the kind of campiness of like Supernatural and Vampire Diaries, with like the grittiness of other shows, and it just resulted in a mess. Like we want to make these characters realistic, and in realism, people can be pretty racist. So we need to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are people racist about these days?
Also, because of how much of the racism it feels like old-timey racism, part of me wonders if it was originally supposed to be set in like 18th century Europe,
Yeah.
and then they changed their mind halfway through.
In 18th century Europe would have a lot of stuff where women do nothing.
Right.
And then, women dying through childbirth. Okay, that's tragic. I can see that happening. And then also, like, the werewolf being like, you said this is an angel's baby, but we're not gonna talk about this. We're just, let's just be a couple.
Yeah.
The whole thing would make more sense if it was written about the 18th century.
But then they threw in the black cop that actually y'all said does nothing, but they threw her in just so that they could be more modern.
Right.
Yeah, it really feels like they were like, Twilight's super popular. Let's set it in the modern world.
Yeah, it's weird. It's bizarre. It's just very bizarre, and
Weird.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, y'all convinced me never, ever, ever, ever to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole point now.
Yeah, that's why we titled this episode, We Watched Hemlock Grove So You Don't Have To.
I got so into y'all's discussion and description and so frustrated by it. But I've drawn nothing.
There was like
just a big angry face.
There was like a week after seeing Hemlock Grove where I was just mad.
Well, I think it's because we put in the long haul. We binge watched this because it came out on Netflix, so all the episodes dropped at once. And I was this was last year, so I was in Portland for a week. Because I could
right before Stumptown, so we were like putting together our Stumptown stuff while watching this, and it just got like worse and worse.
Yeah, to the point that we put all our stuff down and we would just be watching it. I think at one point I like had my hands on my hips, like watching. I'm like,
That's how I feel. I feel like, like what?
Why is this even get made?
And the fact, and and it's even more perplexing that you look to the fact that it was made all at once, and then they released it all at once. So someone got to see the whole show at some point, and no one stopped and said,
"What the fuck is going on here?
Ooh, what did we do? What have we done?" Like they didn't like shoot half of it and then shoot half of it. It all came out at once.
Yeah.
Super curious to see whether all the racism was the original author with the novel, or if that came in later.
See,
but even then, if it was in the original, as someone in the year 2000s, you understand that what's racist and what's not racist, at least to a little bit. I mean, I know a lot of us white folk, we are ignorant to it, but still, you know a lot better.
Yeah.
In the 18th century or whatever. So you change it. I mean, you have a response.
Well, the original book is set in modern times, though. That's the other confusing thing.
It is?
Really?
Yeah.
Really? What?
Yes. It's very strange.
I assumed it was an old book.
Yeah, me too.
No. It's fairly new.
Or like a book set in the 1800s. Because when people said Hemlock Grove, I was like, oh, so kind of like Sleepy Hollow, but not set in the modern world.
yeah.
I
am thoroughly confused.
I am puzzled by this.
No, Hemlock Grove does not make sense. The only thing that makes sense is I was briefly very, very confused how it could get approved for 2 more seasons, because it's going to have a season 3.
What?
No.
Whoa.
What?
And then I recently found out that when Netflix approves a show, they're auto-approved for 3 seasons.
Is this the first time on Ask Me About My Draculas that you've ever been all, this show is not really worth watching?
No, I told people not to watch Supernatural.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But this one, here's the thing, I wouldn't. If I, even though I don't like Supernatural and I don't recommend it, if I hear a friend say, "Oh, I love Supernatural," I don't really think about it.
You
So I'm
don't
like, okay.
judge them for it.
Exactly. It's like,
If
oh, we
someone
have
told
different
me I
tastes.
love Hemlock Grove, I would be like, we cannot be friends.
It'd be a conversation like, it's like someone says, "Oh, I love Supernatural." I'm like, "Oh, okay." "Oh, I love Hemlock Grove." I just have to whip around and like look them straight in the eye and be like, "Excuse me, what did you just say?"
Are you
There
serious?
was, there is a part of Patton Oswalt's book, Zombie Spaceship Wasteland, where he's describing a comedy club owner, and he says the tone that the man used made him think the guy was saying, "Rape's pretty fun." And he was like, which is like basically like, if someone told me they love Hemlock Grove, I would probably be like, that's what I'd hear.
Yeah.
All right. Hemlock Grove is a 2012 horror thriller debut novel by American author Brian McGreevy. The book was released on March 27, 2012, and set in the fictional town of Hemlock Grove, Pennsylvania. Yep. The book is set in the town of Hemlock Grove, Pennsylvania. The town is a mixture of extreme wealth and poverty. Wow, this was not depicted in the show.
Yeah.
Vampire.
I mean, I guess it could be extreme wealth and poverty in
But they only
that
express
the
it
vampire
that-
family has all the wealth and everyone else is poor.
Well, everyone else seemed pretty middle of the road. Vampire family was really rich, and then a trailer rolls in, and they're like, "Ugh, a trailer park! Oh my god!" I mean, that's it. That's the class
I
struggle.
definitely got the impression that basically, like, everyone hated the vampire guy because he was so much better off than everyone else.
Let's see.
Because this is the part you missed. When they bought the extension cord, the reason why it took them 20 minutes is because the convenience store owner was like, "I'm sick of you coming in and thinking that you can just do whatever you want because you're so rich," when the guy's just trying to buy an extension cord. Like,
Oh, apparently in the book. Oh yeah, they don't refer to him as being a vampire. They refer to him as that other word for it, upir or whatever.
oh god.
What?
UPIR. It's another word for vampire.
Oh god.
And in the book, they don't. They call him that instead.
God.
Oh god, this is a lot of intrigue. Like, and then these mad about this. This person decides to remarry this person, and this person decides to start dating this person. It's like, okay,
And that's what they're mad about?
I don't know. I'm just.
Quality programming.
Yep. Okay, this sounds about the same. This one just has a lot more details, which makes sense. It was a book. So yeah, this. Oh, there's a graphic novel.
Maybe all that sexism and racism is true to the source material.
Well, I can't tell. I can't say for sure. You'd have to see these.
I just found the quote on Goodreads. Where is that?
Uh-oh.
Man. I just scrolled past it. I gotta go back now. Okay, here it goes. I was shocked how badly this book is written and what poor language is used in the book. For example, when Peter sees a prayer group in school, he thinks to himself, "Oh, gay."
Oh God.
Yeah, what?
So the book had some homophobia in the mix too.
I
That
mean, you
makes
gotta add
the
it all,
whole weird.
right?
Yes, these two dudes. Look at the tension we're creating between them. Even funnier, in a sad way.
I mean, if you've already got racism and sexism, you might as well just go whole hog. Just
Go
dump
whole
all of
hog.
that in there.
Classism, ableism.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Fuck it.
I was wondering if they were going to do some ableism with the Frankenstein girl.
Yeah, me too.
No.
Especially if she's mute. It'd be like,
Here's the
oh.
thing, I'm like, because here's the problem, is they might have been doing that, but I couldn't tell you because it was so inconsequential. Like, I remember scenes where she's like, she has like a special like room, and it's her room and big because they're rich, and people obviously are kind of like, "Hey, how you doing?" to her. No one's mean to her. I mean, it's so inconsequential in the end. Like,
I mean, yeah, it's like out of the richest family in town we have the douchebag brother rolling around with his nice cars that he brainwashed people into giving him, and then we have the mute sister that kind of just shuffles around and doesn't really say anything and is a little bit shy. So I definitely understand.
When we call her a Frankenstein, that is made up of outside information in the ending. Because
you find out that she died and was brought back to life when she was 5, but they still but she still grew.
So she's not. It's weird. Yeah, that's another subplot I forgot about. There was a plot about I think the science facility.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was there for. It was just to Frankenstein girl.
That's right, because they brought her back to life, and I think she had to go back there now and again for things and tests. And then later, when the girl who's having what she thinks is the angel babies, but is dating the werewolf, goes into labor, they take her to that facility.
Yeah.
And then she dies.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Is that how the whole season ends, and we don't?
Yeah, there's an epilogue after that. That's the vampire killing his mom and realizing he's a vampire, and the werewolf and his mom taking off, being like, "Hey, bye, racist, I'm done." But that's it.
Okay.
Right. Here's a quote from the book.
Watch season 2.
Here's a quote from the book.
There was a quote from the book. Let me read it to you. Words are thermal energies. These energies were introduced into her system to become kinetic in her thighs and in her fingertips and behind her eyelids. States of matter changed. Her heart became a liquid that pooled under her feet, and she was a water bug racing on molecules.
What are they talking about?
What does that even mean?
What is the context of this?
I don't know.
Is this about that Nickelodeon show where that girl turned into Mercury?
She's Alex Mack.
Alex Mack,
No,
yeah. Is this about Alex Mack?
This is on Goodreads under a review that has that, and then just WTF.
I can assure you, Alex Mack was not in Hemlock Grove.
Oh, man.
Well, we're about at the 1 hour mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think we have informed everyone of this train wreck enough.
Do you have any questions about it?
How did it get made?
That's what I would like to know. How did this happen?
I think I know how it got made. It was Netflix, okay, we're going to do some shows. We're going to preview for 3 seasons. This was made based on, they picked this up based on what's popular at the time. And you know what? Based on some of the quotes and what people said, maybe it was worse in the book. And this was them toning it down because they wanted to use a pre-existing property and they wanted it to match this theme of vampires and supernatural and
everything else.
Pretty young adults doing their pretty young adult adventures, and maybe they were toning it down. And they were already in it. We're already in it, guys. Get it together. We have to do this now.
Yeah.
Who knows? We may never know.
All right.
I'm gonna real quick double check to see if this is the first thing where I was like, you should absolutely not look at this.
What were you saying, Matt?
No.
I'm just gonna check all the past episodes of Ask Me About My Draculas and go over Sleepy Hollow I gave a thumbs up to.
Definitely Silver Bullet. Thumbs up.
Yeah. If you love the 80s, then Lost Boys is a thumbs up.
Lost Boys is so good.
Come on, Tumblr, load. This isn't that hard. Castlevania, Chris Sims gave it a thumbs up, and he was the one explaining it to me. I explained Supernatural to Aaron Diaz and told him not to watch it.
So this is maybe the second time.
Tyler and I explained the Dresden Files, and that's a thumbs up.
Yes.
Vampire Diaries, if you like a very, very specific type of trashiness, then watch Vampire Diaries.
That is my youngest brother's favorite show. He is an adult.
How old is your youngest brother?
23, I think now.
Oh, well, but how old was he at the time?
22. Vampire Diaries is a recent show.
Yeah, Vampire Diaries is very new.
Yeah.
Oh, we told people not to watch Vampire Nights, the anime.
Oh.
But we did talk about the classism pyramid scheme of Vampire Nights. We went really into that.
Yeah.
We gave Teen Wolf a thumbs up because it's a shonen anime but live action.
Oh, that was explained to me. Yes, it was a live-action shonen anime. And if you view it like that, it's really cute. If you try to take it seriously, it's a pain.
Yeah. And then Buffy obviously got a thumbs up. We talked about Being Human. We gave the UK version a thumbs up and the US version a void.
That is fair. Yeah.
So this isn't the first one that said don't watch it, but this is the most emphatic. What are you doing to yourself? Why are you watching this?
And the thing is, it's not even so bad that I would say, oh, watch it, it's so bad. It's so bad I'm like, don't, it's annoying, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't watch this show thinking you're going to be like, oh my god, here comes the bad scene, because it will drain the life out of you.
It's just confusing.
The show will confuse you and make you angry.
And
Yeah.
maybe you'll take a nice nap.
Take a nice nap instead.
Seriously, the only reason we watched the whole way through is because we were working already and we were already stuck in it.
Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself. Don't live the life I live.
Don't live our terrible lives where we inflict these bad TV shows on ourselves.
Your drama lines will just become angry.
Well, I stopped working at one point. I think I was working on it was for Stump Tenant. I was using my paper cutter to trim some prints I was gonna sell, and so my paper cutting arm slowed, and I was like, shh. You know, slicing slow until I just ground to a stop watching this and going, what the fuck is this?
All right.
It's a drain.
I'm going to promote my Kickstarter one more time. You guys should all back it. It's Sorcery 101's Omnibus Volume 1 of 2. It is a 750-page book, and you could kill someone with that. You could kill whoever tried to force you to watch Hemlock Grove.
It is true.
All right. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Um,